One of the more interesting people really in Forest Grove Gaston history is a fellow by the name of James DeWitt Hill, who was an aviator and really a peer of Charles Lindbergh, and in fact was in competition with Lindbergh to be the first to cross the Atlantic. Well, Lindbergh beat him to it, but in 1927, James DeWitt Hill was approached by William Randolph Hearst, who owned the New York Daily Mirror, among many other newspapers. And the idea that Hearst gave Hill was that Philip Paine, the editor of the Daily Mirror, would fly with Hill across the Pacific. Wouldn't be a solo flight, but it would be longer than Lindbergh's flight to Paris because Hill would fly to Rome and he'd have a newspaper man along to chronicle the whole trip for him. So in 1927, Hill took off in a plane called the Old Glory, among tremendous hoopla in the national press, thanks in large part, of course, to William Randolph Hearst. Philip Paine wrote all about the takeoff from the airport in the States and how James DeWitt Hill was just this charming, eligible bachelor who didn't have a woman to come back to, and that sort of thing. A very maudlin story in some ways about the takeoff over the Atlantic on a trip to Rome. Well, sadly, they didn't get very far. Somewhere not too far off the coast of Newfoundland, the plane disappeared. It issued one distress call, and a ship by the name of the Transylvania picked up that distress call, but no sign of the plane or the passengers or the pilot was ever found. Now, how this ties into Forest Grove and Gaston is that a short while after the crash, a mysterious woman came to Hillsborough to complete the sale of a farm in Patton Valley between Gaston and Forest Grove. Turns out that she had bought the farm with James DeWitt Hill, and that his intention was, after the flight, to settle down to a quiet life as a farmer in Patton Valley.